Good morning. It is RuPaul's Drag Race, Season 12, Episode 7, Madonna, the Unauthorized Rusical. I say this every time. I have some unpopular thoughts, at least based on Twitter. I think they're unpopular. But I don't think they're as unpopular as, I think once I explain it, I think it's going to be like, okay, I get it. But I'm going to wait toward the end of the episode to discuss those, because that way those of you who don't really watch the videos anyway won't have a reason to dislike them. Oh, I forgot to turn on my ring light. Oh, look at that. Oh, now I've lit. So anyway, we'll even scoot in a little bit. Okay, so we pick up right afterwards. Just for reference, I watched the sneak peek that's on YouTube a couple days early. I write down my thoughts and then I watch the episode. Like always, my toddler needs to go to bed before the episode's done. And that's my job, is bedtime. And so I got as far as the Rusical, and then this morning I watched the rest on practically mute with the subtitles on so that I didn't wake up everyone else in the house. I usually, for a while I didn't, but I usually go to Twitter and just write the top tweets about the episode to kind of get a sense of where everyone's at and if I want to address something. I didn't used to do that, but I kind of started. And then I have a friend, yay, who I've been kind of emailing with. So in general, this is mostly my thoughts, but sometimes I kind of want to react like, how is the rest of the fandom feeling? And it's always hard to get a read because the loudest voices on Twitter aren't necessarily representative of everyone, just the people who are on Twitter. Anyway, long way around. So we lost Aiden. It was time, but it was like the wrong way to do it, in the sense that when you come really hard for someone constantly on TV, the fans, at least me, tend to kind of be like, okay, we could just back it off a bit. So Aiden, it was the right time for Aiden to go. I don't think Aiden has a really interesting concept, but I don't think carries it through to be a full production. It's more of like when you say, oh, I have this idea, but it's not fully realized. That's kind of my opinion of Aiden, but they came so hard at her for so long that it was kind of like, geez, guys, back off. So anyway, Britta comes in and is like, I'm proud of Aiden. You know, and we're like, lies. Liza Minnelli lies. Like, this is not true. Don't, you know, it's almost as bad as, like, just don't say anything. Don't pretend now that she's gone that you have this great appreciation. And I actually almost feel bad for Britta, because her opinion of herself and how she thought others would think of her is so off of how she came off on TV. No, maybe that's really the case. Maybe that's exactly a representation. But part of me goes, you know, maybe if they had, you know, in real life, you get constant feedback from people. And so I wonder with Sherry being, you know, I kind of wonder if Sherry wasn't, because it seems like there's a piece missing, and if Sherry was like there pushing the whole time, like, you're so much better and stuff, maybe that would make sense. This is the case where if Sherry had said bad things, having her edit it out actually helps her. So I don't know. I can't go too far. I don't know. I'm like, and Heidi's like, Gigi, why did you drag me into this? I wasn't even in the bottom. And Gigi, and a lot of the fans I'm seeing are saying things like, but did Gigi lie? And I'm like, well, it's not just a matter of always lying. Like, if you see someone who has a physical disability and you're like, oh, you walk funny. It doesn't make you a hero because it's true. It's rude. And so now, admittedly, Heidi's makeup is not a physical disability, but it just kind of feels like, I kind of agree with Heidi, which is like, this wasn't even the time to drag me into this. Like, and I think, especially in Untucked, you know, I think Gigi kind of felt like she was called out. I wasn't a fan of the, like, you know, like, oh, how dare you say something to me. But it seems like it sunk in, and maybe she went home to the hotel and kind of thought about it and is like, yeah, that wasn't my greatest moment, which is all you can really ask of people. They screw up. Do they learn from it, or do they double down? Now, in reality TV, doubling down seems to be more interesting, but kind of realizing that, like, maybe I could have held my tongue in that moment is the smarter thing. And Gigi is very young, and of course I think anybody at any age should continue to grow and mature and become a better version of themselves. So that's not, you know, that. I have Widow, I have Shady Boots. I don't know what I meant by that because I watched it several days ago. But I do agree. The best example, we will go, oh, well, you have the longest time to prepare for Snatch Game. Let's remember Trixie and her RuPaul impression and how much it flopped. So being prepared is not the same. That's like saying that every professional movie should work because they prepared for it. No, we know there's plenty of flops. And in retrospect, you can get it, but, you know, the first time through, maybe not. Sherry apologized. We didn't really see what she apologized for because that was all edited out. So that's kind of the reason why I feel like maybe Sherry was more involved. Gigi is acting all offended when called out, like, oh, how dare you come back at me. And I wasn't really happy with that. Jackie apologized and Widow was a little bitter. And I get where what Widow said is, let's just have, what I heard Widow say was that Widow was saying, like karma. If you guys end up in the bottom, I hope someone goes up against you the way you guys came against me. What they heard was, I hope you're in the bottom and people drag you. Now, which one she meant, I can't say. What I thought she meant was just sort of like a karma comment, like, you guys are trying to act all justified, but I hope turnaround's fair play, and if it happens to you. She didn't say she was going to drag her, but, and I think that was kind of someone else would, you know, like maybe you'll turn on each other. And then Jackie apologized, but then was like, oh, so you're not going to forgive me? And I'm kind of like, well, you literally just said it a few minutes ago, so I can see why Widow's a little bent out of shape about it. Anyway, it's Madonna the Rusical. So I was very excited, and I think I had my expectations. No, I didn't see anyone talk about this, and so I'm like, are my expectations for the Rusical skewed? Because when I was a kid, my earliest memories of like watching MTV with my siblings was seeing these videos, seeing Madonna videos. She was a star from, it wasn't that she predated me, so I didn't grow up with Madonna being oldies. Madonna was contemporary music basically my entire life. She's had hits. Crystal's look was in college. I remember being like maybe a preteen when Like a Prayer came out, and as being very religious, I was offended by the imagery in the music video. I remember being 8 or so and walking with my sister, like going for walks around the neighborhood, listening to her Material Girl song. So she's always been popular. So I thought, oh, I will love this the most, because even though I love Cher, I don't have a lot of Cher memories, even though obviously I'm a fan of RuPaul. RuPaul's not a part of my whole life. RuPaul's someone I discovered when I was older. So I thought, oh, Madonna will be my jam, because Madonna has always been a star for me. She's just always, my entire lifetime, she has always existed as a star. And then, I don't know, the outfits were all familiar, but the tune wasn't, and then I thought, well, of course the tune can't be, because if the tune was familiar, they'd have to pay licensing rights. But then no one sounded like Madonna to me, but then I was like, well, does Madonna have, Cher has a distinctive voice, where you could sing something as kind of that deep husky voice, and you would instantly know, oh, that's a Cher impression. So I'm not sure where, it wasn't, the choreography was good, the lyrics were good, I thought the performances in general, I had no clue who was going to be in the bottom, because to me, I had no connection other than the outfits to Madonna, and I don't know why that is, because I'm pretty sure I know Madonna songs. I do have a tin ear, so that might be the problem. To me, Jan sounded the best. And Jan and Jackie, to me, looked the best, but that is also very indicative of the iconic, and of course the cone bra looked like her. I mean, you couldn't think that was anybody else, but for me, I thought Gigi reminded me so much of Grease, Sandy and Grease, that if I saw Jackie and I saw Britta and I saw Jan, I would say, oh, this is clearly Madonna. If I saw some of the other outfits, I necessarily wouldn't, but that's not their fault, because that was how she dressed at the time, especially with someone like Crystal. She's constantly reinventing herself, and although I did kind of wonder, how did they work the outfits? Because if they picked the roles, I do have questions about the outfits. Did they have, like, outfits for each kind of Madonna in different sizes, or did they have to bring them? But if they brought them, then were there... It just didn't make, like when they did the Women in History one, they were assigned a role, but we know they weren't assigned this time. So I would like some behind the scenes information on how the outfits were assigned. Anyway, they kind of say, no one's going to pick, you're all going to pick. So it actually worked out really well. In general, only one person wanted a particular Madonna. Jan and Gigi ended up with roles that weren't their first choice. They put Jan first, which is always tough. Opening up is tough, but I'll tell you, following someone who floors the crowd is also incredibly difficult. So I thought Jan sounded amazing. The choreography was amazing. It was very Madonna to me. Now that might just be showing my age, that's how I know Madonna. Jada is someone for me who continues to rise in my estimation. I am not a pageant fan. I don't know if you can hear my toddler screaming along with Sesame Street, but he is fine. That is his happy singing voice. I'm not ever big on pageant queens just because it's not something maybe I just don't understand it, but it's just never to me as interesting. But Jada just kind of keeps nudging up where I'm like, and kind of has an opinion, but not the snarkiest and all that. I thought Jada was amazing in the Rusical, and amazing. I mean, I knew I would have recognized that outfit anywhere, and I thought she looked the most like Michelle Visage on the runway. But in general, Heidi, Widow, and Crystal couldn't hold a tune in a bucket, at least practicing, but that's not the only thing. Britta goes on about the musical theater. Gigi in the practice was rough. It had these huge, enormous white shoes, looked kind of like a duck. And I couldn't imagine trying to dance the way that they were trying to dance. Anyway, there's the secret, I'm looking forward to, I don't know if you caught it, the commercial for Secret Celebrity Drag Race, which is, I'm kind of excited about. It's going to be a 4-week special. I probably will review it. I'll be interested to see who's cast and who does it. Jamal Sims comes out. Widow has a bad knee, and then Britta's like, your knee should be better. But we saw it. It was still a scab. I get it if you get it cut in the exact spot. So whether or not it was... Britta just needs to focus more on herself. I wonder if Britta didn't think, oh, I'll be like the I'm going to say Ben de la Creme, and that's not what I meant. Bianca Del Rio. And that is something that she carried, like, oh, I'll be the one who's kind of calling shade on everyone and calling out. And it didn't work for her, which almost makes me, like I said, almost makes me feel sad for her. Almost. I thought Jan killed it. But then Britta's like going after Jan about how Jan thinks so highly of herself. And I was like, I haven't seen that. Did I miss something? Now I admit occasionally Jan has been a little frustrated that she's been safe and all that. But I'm not really ready to drag her over that or anything. And I wrote, Britta is now after Jan. What's she done? So anyway, so I watched I think Heidi's adorable. Is she maybe in the performing as well as she could? Probably not. Is she a delight every time she is on my screen? Absolutely. She is so fun. She is. I love all of her interviews. If I was going to sit down with someone and watch the show, Heidi is someone who I would definitely enjoy. I would love to watch her talk. So a friend emailed me, we were kind of talking about Drag Race, and made such a great point that I knew this was a really tough season for them. First of all, the Sherry Pie thing, a lot of them means all of their pre-season interviews are kind of skewed. Anytime that they're kind of friends with someone with Sherry, it kind of makes them look a little bad. It's very, and I knew the quarantine was hard. I hadn't thought about the fact that they're going to have to have a finale, and unless things change really soon, I'm guessing they're going to try to drag it out as late as possible so that they can do a live finale if things open up. But I personally am not a fan of live finales, just because the reality show is edited the whole time to make it tight and concise and boom, 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 boom. And a live finale can never replicate that because it's a live experience, which just feels different. But for the queens, it's a huge thing. But the thing I hadn't really thought about until this week was the fact that this is when they are busiest. So like I do watch when T-Rex, I don't know where the club is, I think Chicago, where they do the live viewing. There's a lot of bars that do live viewings, and they pay the queens to come out and be part of like talking about it behind the show. We don't get any of that. No one, everyone's in their bedroom trying to do stuff. And they just, unless they want to try to put up a whole recap, which I think some of them might try to do, they are missing out on this window of opportunity, which could be closing for them. Now, some people like Trixie and Katya go on to become Ben de la Creme, become huge, sorry, I keep saying Ben de la Creme when I mean Bianca Del Rio. Ben de la Creme is as well, but Bianca Del Rio become huge international stars. But for some of them, this is really when they need to get traction on their career while their show is on the air, while they're the most bookable, and they're missing that window, and I feel really sorry for them. I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, so Jamal is talking, and I watched this after finishing the finale of Marriage Boot Camp, and if you don't know, Dr. V is the Dr. Ish? Anyway, the counselor on the latest boot camp hip-hop edition. For whatever reason, all of a sudden Jamal sounded exactly like the counselor from that show, and I was like, wow, that would be really interesting. Maybe they should have him over to do it. Anyway, we see Crystal's dad has Parkinson's. Crystal is, I would say Crystal and Heidi are kind of those ones that aren't just exploding on the show. They're not doing amazing, but they are worming their way into my heart. Do I think either of them will make it into the finale? Maybe. Do I think that they have an incredible career ahead of them, especially as personalities that you want to get to know? Yes, definitely. So I wrote, my comment on the actual Rusical is Jan is Madonna. And then Jackie to me sounded like Weird Al, but not like Weird Al doing Madonna, because Weird Al actually does a great Madonna, but Weird Al doing Weird Al. I don't know why I said that. Gigi, I wrote down Sandy from Greece. She fixed her feet. She's doing great. To me, though, she didn't read Madonna. Madonna's not known for her back handsprings and her flips. So this is, I don't know, Hibby, what am I not getting about the Madonna Rusical? Because I thought as a performance number, everyone did great. But I didn't, with the exception of a few of the really, like I said, Jan and Jackie, those really iconic looks. Oh, and Britta, the really iconic Madonna looks. I don't know that I would have gotten Madonna from it. Whereas I feel like with the Cher one, maybe Cher is... with Cher, I would have gotten Cher from almost every singer, but I wouldn't have gotten it from Ru. So I'm like, I think my expectations were just couldn't be possible. Like, they can't get Material Girl and have their own lyrics over that. They'd have to pay licensing fee on every single Madonna song, which they couldn't afford. I mean, they could afford, but there wouldn't be any money left for Ru. So I think my expectations of what it was supposed to be was a little off. Jada looks like a woman. Gigi, I would have liked to see, Gigi in general would have liked to see more padding, and then I go, well, yeah, but that's her natural body, is so skinny, and Valentina, and, Violet Chachki, and then I go, yeah, but, I wouldn't judge a bigger girl for not having a skinny body, but then I go, yeah, but I would judge a bigger girl for not corseting to do what they can with their body to, look more feminine. And then I'm like, yeah, but some women are, so then I got this whole like my expectations of what femininity look like, limiting my views of drag and all that. But anyway, what did I write? Heidi, I didn't recognize Heidi. I didn't know what that was all. I don't understand the costumes. Were they provided? And so then we get into the runway. So cute. Jackie and Jan were so cute. Jada, just solid as always. That is one of the pictures they use of Michelle Visage because it's so Michelle Visage. Gigi, I love the nails, but I would never have guessed that was Michelle Visage. But then someone on Twitter put up a picture of Michelle Visage in that time period, and she was blonde and she was flat-chested, so I was like, okay. But she wasn't as flat-chested as Gigi was, and I wish, sometimes she looks like Skinny Boy. I don't know. And to be clear, I love Gigi. Gigi is a super strong competitor, much funnier than I thought she was going to be, all of that. So, anyway, when they called him forward, I almost didn't have a clue who was in the top and the bottom, and they gave positives to everyone and then a few negatives. So Jan was dismissed, and Jan's eyes went crazy. She was in the background. Crystal was safe, so I guess those were the two high, and then Gigi was a winner. So this is where I get into my contentious opinion. So if you were waiting for it, here it is, which is, hold on. Oh, so Colorado's extended the stay-at-home order to the 26th. I had an emergency alert. So this is my contentious opinion, is that I think Gigi is strong. The outfits are amazing. Everything has been perfect. I mean, not perfect, but it's been incredibly strong. But I don't think she should have won this. I thought Jan had the leg up in this particular challenge. Now, do I think that Gigi should have been in the bottom? No. It's ridiculous. Should I think she should have been safe, as in the middle, the three that were sent to the back room? No, she deserved to be in the top. Did I think that Jan was slightly better than her in this challenge? Yeah. Do I have a problem that other people think Gigi should have been in top? No. Do I have a problem with the people that are saying, if you think that Jan should have won, you're delusional? Yeah, I do, because what are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? And this is what I think is happening, is some people like Gigi so much and are so vocal about it that they're becoming aggressive to people who think maybe Gigi is super strong, but maybe isn't automatically the top every single time. And you see that, and you see them being like, if you don't think that Gigi should have won this challenge, you're a moron. It's like, oh, okay, well, geez Louise, this is back off a little. And it's actually, that is starting to affect my opinion of Gigi, which is not fair to Gigi at all. So I have to be really careful, and I think this is something that fandom does from time to time that's a real problem, which is like when Valentina had those fans, and the Valentina fans attacked Nina Bonita Brown for sending Valentina home when Valentina didn't know a single word in the song, and then they attacked people. That's a problem. And I think there's a way, it's super easy. You can like your person, you can say you like your person, you don't need to attack other people for feeling differently. That's just how I feel about it. And I don't think it's really doing Gigi. If you're a fan of Gigi and you're out there attacking people who disagree, you're actually hurting Gigi by doing that. And I think it's true for any Drag Race fan, any celebrity fan, anything like that. It is exactly the same as when Britta kept attacking Aiden. It makes we see it and you pull back because you're like, oh, that's just not fair. That's just not right. I like Gigi. Do I think Gigi's going to win the season? I think there's a very good chance. I would give her very good odds. I'm not going to say for sure because there's still competition left. I mean, what if she craps the bed? Am I going to still give it to her? Maybe. I mean, well, I'm not going to give her anything. But the idea is, I think the fandom, there's times when it kind of churns up, and when I looked at Twitter this morning, there were some comments that were in the top that had been liked a lot and got a lot of traction that were like, if you don't think that Gigi is the best drag queen ever, you're a moron. Kind of. I don't think it's doing her any favors. Now, that's my contentious opinion. My contentious opinion is that Gigi is incredibly talented, but she's not perfect. So I guess if you hate me for that, you hate me for that. So I barely watched Untuck. It was Jada, Sherry, and Widow. They're trying to cut Sherry out. This is what I appreciated. Jan thought she was in the top, and she spent the entire Untucked trying to encourage people in the bottom. Gigi seemed to have learned her lesson. So she was really encouraging to Heidi. And she specifically said, I kind of regret this fight. Perfect. That's what you expect from people. That is how... So I'm not going to hold it against her that she had this moment where she kind of rubbed failure in the bottom people's. She learned from it. She said, you know what? I did that. Not really feeling it. Wasn't great. I'm going to try to do better. Good job, girl. That's exactly that is all the world can ask of you, is that when you screw up, you try to do better. And it wasn't even that big of a screw up. And like people said, she wasn't necessarily wrong. I don't think it was the time and the place. And I think that's a little bit of the toxic fandom saying like, oh, well, she can say whatever she wants because she's queen. She can stomp on my neck and all that. And it's like, well, And sometimes I think some of you guys confuse who you want to with, you know, Drag Race, but none of them are sleeping with me. So that does not skew my opinion. But we go through, I appreciate it was a much tamer Untucked. There was a little bit more about Widow, you know, do you regret saying that? And I like Jackie a lot. I think, you know, and then of course we had the judges. I didn't even talk about the judges. And it was, you know, this has been a very strong political message. So once again, we have another strong political message. It's just exactly what you would expect. Like I said, so anyway, hit me up in the comments. Are you at a point in the season where you have favorites? Now, your favorites and who you think can win. Now, those can be the same. Those can be different, because we all know that our favorites sometimes don't win because what RuPaul's looking for, or just that they're not showing it. Like, I really like Heidi. I think she is super fun, but she is not performing well enough, consistently enough in the challenges to where I think she's going to make it to the finale. That is separate, though, from whether or not I think that she is a good drag queen and whether or not I want to continue to see her. Crystal did well in this challenge. Lots of ups and downs. I think both of them are people who would do great in All Stars, and I hope to see them back. I think it's almost a given that Sherry Pie, you have to kind of like, because Sherry is cut out of so much, it looks like Sherry Pie, Gigi, and Jada, I think, are going to be the three. My favorites, though, are, I think Gigi deserves that. Jan, Heidi, Crystal are all people, Jackie, so I guess I have 5, are all people that I'm interested in seeing more from. And then, yeah, tell me why I don't understand the Rusical. Was it just not as iconic, or am I just totally missing a boat? And that's fine. You know, I have bad taste too. So I will see you later. Stay safe and sane.